Before the downfall, Gap was a trailblazer, setting trends that would define casual American fashion for decades. Founded in 1969 by Don Fisher in San Francisco, Gap started as a small shop selling Levi's jeans and records, cleverly targeting the generation gap that separated baby boomers from their parents. Fisher's vision simple: provide quality products that resonated with the youth. But it didn't take long for Gap to evolve. By the mid-1970s, it shifted away from third-party brands and began designing and selling its own clothing, which would soon become the brand's signature, a four-piece stylish basics that spoke to the everyday American. The 1980s and 1990s marked the golden era for Gap. Not only was it a dominant retail force, but it became a cultural icon, defining an era of fashion that was minimalist, versatile, and undeniably elegant. Gap's marketing prowess was unmatched, in its timeless individual style campaigns, featuring black and white portraits of cultural icons like Spike Lee and Joe Didion, to its dynamic TV ads like Khaki Swing, where dancers clad in Gap's signature khakis leaped to the beat of Louis Prima's Jump, Jive, and Wail. These campaigns weren't just selling clothes, they were selling an identity, one that resonated with a wide demographic, from suburban families to Hollywood A-listers. During this time, Gap's designs were everywhere. The brand's combination of comfort t-shirts, perfectly cut jeans, and effortlessly cool khakis became wardrobe essentials for millions. Baby boomers, Gen X, and even the first wave of millennials adopted Gap as their go-to for reliable, stylish basics. Whether it was for a laid-back weekend or a business casual office look, Gap had everyone covered, and its reach extended beyond just a clothing store. It was a staple in American culture. And embracing online shopping, Gap lagged behind. Its identity as a purveyor of timeless basics began to feel stagnant in a fashion world that was quickly embracing speed and variety. To make matters worse, Gap's own brand portfolio started cannibalizing its success. Old Navy, launched in 1994 as a budget-friendly alternative, began to outpace Gap itself. Offering similar styles at lower prices, Old Navy attracted a more price-conscious shopper, further diluting Gap's market share. By 2005, Old Navy had overtaken Gap as the company's largest brand in terms of sales, signaling a shift in consumer preferences away from the more premium Gap products. But it wasn't just external competition and internal cannibalization that hurt the brand. When they were great, there just wasn't the ecosystem of smaller niche players, said Ken Pilot, former president of Gap. Gap was competing against department stores and Kale.
I already belong. Lalu man.
Tidur mana?
Ya.
Okay. What video you shoot?
I'm recording now. I'm recording belong.
Okay.
Lalu.
Did you reply to her?
Ya.
Began losing
Ya.
touch with the very audience it once ruled. Baby boomers, who had grown up at Gap, no longer felt the same connection to the brand as Gap struggled to attract younger millennials and Gen Z shoppers who craved fast, affordable, and trend-driven fashion. Instead of innovating or adapting to changing tastes, Gap doubled down on its old formula, relying heavily on discounting through inventory, a strategy that only served to erode its brand value further. The relentless store expansion, combined with a failure to adapt to changing market dynamics, left Gap with an unsustainable business model. The brand that had once captured the essence of American style was now losing relevance, outpaced by more nimble competitors who had mastered both the digital space and fast fashion. As Gap's relevance faded, the brand seemed to lose the very spark that once made it a household name. Its bold, effortless style, once its defining feature, gave way to uninspired, formulaic designs. leaving consumers unimpressed. In its heyday, Gap's designs were simple but fresh, iconic staples that blended style and function effortlessly. However, as the fashion landscape shifted, Gap's ability to innovate and stay ahead of trends faltered. The brand began to feel more reactive than proactive, relying heavily on its past successes rather than forging a new path forward. Much of this stagnation can be traced to leadership changes and the increasing influence of data-driven decisions over creative instincts. Executives like Art Peck, who led Gap Incorporation from 2014 to 2019, shifted the focus from bold, trend-setting designs to analytics and operational efficiency. Under his leadership, Gap leaned more on discounting and inventory management than on cultivating the kind of unique, standout products that once defined the brand. While data and logistics are vital in modern retail, this shift came at the expense of the brand's creative identity. The failure of this approach became evident in Gap's attempts to recapture relevance through high-profile collaborations. The most notable of these was the much-hyped partnership with Kanye West in 2020, aimed at creating a line of Yeezy-branded clothing for Gap. On paper, it seemed like a brilliant move. A collaboration with one of the world's most influential cultural figures could inject much-needed energy into the brand. But in practice, it fell flat. The product releases were delayed, the designs were uninspired, and the collaboration didn't resonate with consumers as expected. What was meant to be a revival quickly turned into another missed opportunity, especially when the partnership was cut short in 2022 following West's controversial public behavior. At the heart of Gap's struggle was its inability to balance creativity with the data-driven demands of modern retail. The brand became stuck in a cycle of playing it safe, releasing familiar basic designs while losing the boldness that once made it stand out. Consumers wanted innovation, but Gap seemed content with offering the same old basics, only at lower prices and with deeper discounts. This disconnect between leadership's focus on efficiency and the creative vision Gap once embodied left the brand adrift. In an era where competitors thrived on pushing boundaries and capturing cultural moments, Gap's lack of direction made it look increasingly out of touch. As the retail landscape rapidly evolved in the 2000s, one of the most significant disruptions came from the rise of e-commerce. For traditional retailers like Gap, the digital transformation presented both a challenge and an opportunity. Tragically, while the retail world pivoted to the convenience and immediacy of online shopping, Gap remained entrenched in outdated models, watching from the sidelines as competitors like Zara and ASOS seized the digital revolution. Competitors such as Zara, H&M, and fast fashion giants were quick to build strong online presences, making it easy for customers to browse new collections and make purchases with a click. These brands not only capitalized on e-commerce, but also innovated in ways that kept them at the forefront of shoppers' minds, constantly rotating inventory, leveraging data to predict trends, and responding quickly to customer needs. Meanwhile, Gap's digital strategy advanced. While it did eventually build an online platform, it wasn't enough to offset the decline in foot traffic.
Daddy, daddy, daddy. Didi, didi, daddy.
Traffic at its physical stores. Worse still, Gap's online experience lacked the dynamic, trend-driven appeal of its competitors. The brand's focus remained on the basics, which didn't align with the faster, more agile fashion trends shaping younger generations' shopping habits. Social media played an equally crucial role in this shift, and again, Gap found itself trailing behind. As brands like Fashion Nova, ASOS, and even direct-to-consumer disruptors like Everlane mastered the art of engaging influencers and building communities on Instagram, TikTok, and beyond, Gap's attempts to use social media felt outdated and uninspired. The ability to connect directly with Gen Z and millennials through social platforms became a make-or-break strategy for many fashion brands. But Gap struggled to tap into that dynamic energy. In a world where digital presence and social media engagement drive brand loyalty and sales, Gap's slow adoption and lackluster execution left it at a significant disadvantage. The disconnect was clear. While competitors thrived in the fast-paced, digital-first environment, Gap remained anchored to an outdated playbook, reliant on traditional retail models and a slow-moving online strategy. This failure to fully embrace digital innovation, both in e-commerce and social media, was a critical factor in Gap's declining influence. At a time when brands needed to be nimble, creative, and digitally savvy, Gap's inability to pivot quickly left it struggling to compete with faster, trendier, and more agile retailers. In recent years, Gap has made several attempts to breathe new life into its struggling brand. One of the more promising strategies has been tapping into the power of nostalgia. By revisiting its past, Gap sought to remind consumers of its former glory when it was synonymous with effortless, everyday American style. This has included collaborations with campaigns designed to reintroduce classic styles with an emphasis on the 1980s and 1990s, the decades when Gap was at its peak. One of the most notable collaborations came in 2023 when Gap partnered with designer Sean Wotherspoon, known for his vintage-inspired aesthetic. The project focused on curating a collection that celebrated Gap's heritage, pulling pieces from the brand's archives and updating them for a modern audience. The initiative sparked interest among fashion enthusiasts who were drawn to the throwback styles and helped reignite conversations about Gap's cultural relevance. At the same time, Gap has tried to leverage the success of its other brands, particularly Old Navy and Athleta. Old Navy, which overtook Gap as the company's sales leader years ago, has continued to perform relatively well due to its budget-friendly, family-oriented focus. Athleta, meanwhile, has capitalized on the growing trend of athleisure, appealing to women who prioritize comfort and functionality in their clothing. Together, these brands now make up the bulk of Gap Incorporation revenue, with the flagship Gap brand contributing less to the company's overall success. But these efforts, while generating some positive buzz, have not been enough to significantly alter the trajectory of the Gap brand itself. Despite attempts to tap into nostalgia and collaborations like Sean Wotherspoon's, Gap still faces the challenge of connecting with younger consumers. As of 2024, Gap has shown early signs of a potential turnaround under the leadership of Richard Dixon, appointed CEO in August 2023. Dixon, known for revitalizing Mattel's Barbie brand, has implemented a multifaceted strategy focused on brand revitalization, digital transformation, and operational efficiency. Gap is honing in on its core brands like Old Navy and Athleta, leveraging their appeal in an economically sensitive market. We are going back to what made Gap great, focusing on our core identity and the consumer, said Richard Dixon in 2024, as he outlined the company's new strategic vision. The brand has also invested heavily in improving its e-commerce and omnichannel capabilities, which are already yielding faster growth than overall sales. In addition, Gap's efforts to modernize its digital infrastructure, including the appointment of a new chief technology officer, reflect its commitment to becoming more competitive in the digital-first retail space. While challenges remain, particularly in brand identity and consumer engagement, the early results are promising. This blueprint for legacy retailers suggests that Gap may still have a chance to reclaim its relevance